Hello and welcome to my channel. In this new series I want to talk to you about rhythm. Some basic points about rhythm that come up in lessons with my students all the time. So I figured I'd just make a collection here and go through like 5 or 6 points that you can practice but you also need to understand about. So this first one we're going to talk about pulse. The pulse is something that you feel when you make the music, and it helps when you're aware of it. It's a feeling and it's also an understanding of the music. That is being expressed in that you feel what's going on, but you can also count it out, the pulse that is specific to a certain tune. That way you can bring your feeling and your understanding together. Some people call the pulse subdivisions. So the way that you subdivide the beat that the music is being played in. You can, when you play a groove, like something, you can sing on one, two, and the three. Or you can count it. It will help you to be more in time with the music, subdividing the beats, and that way placing your notes or your chords exactly where they should be. It will also help you to be more in sync with other musicians. Hopefully you will all be playing and feeling the same pulse. Sometimes in beginners bands you can see that one guy is feeling just the quarter notes and the other one is really feeling the eighth notes just from their body language. So you know they might have a problem really syncing up because they're referencing what they're doing to a different pulse. So let's start with just the quarter notes for a pulse. When I turn on my metronome, let's say at 100, just that, you could use every quarter note as your pulse. You say one, da, 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 da. And this is a pulse that you would feel when you're marching or when you do a children's song. Oftentimes they just feel the quarter notes as a pulse. Like twinkle, twinkle, little, like that. But even just regular pop and rock music, sometimes we only feel the quarter note pulse. If I go like, most people will just feel that. And that's the quarter note. So they feel a quarter note pulse. And I'm playing something that is obviously in eighth notes, even with a 16th note rest in there. So a lot of music is felt in quarter notes. The next one up would be an eighth note pulse. Just subdividing those quarter notes and feeling all the eighth. This is something that you can hear easily when you remember those old rock and roll lines. So they go in 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2. So to really get into that, it's good to feel all the eighth notes in that pulse. And we also do it when we just play with power chords. We go 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 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 something like that. And even when you're just sitting by the campfire working on your open chords, playing some tunes with some friends maybe, most of the time you will feel an eighth note pulse. You go 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. Just being aware of what the pulse going through the music will help you to be more in sync with the music. If I split it up again, so I split up the eighth notes, or I quarter the quarter notes, so that I get a pulse of 4 per every quarter note beat, that will be a 16th note pulse. And some music that use that is just a funky feel where you go, and counting will be 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a 1 and a 2 and a... So that's felt in a 16th. I'm doing this for my 1 and 2. 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a 1 and a 2. So I can feel that the beats are subdivided in 16th notes. And you can also find this in metal music a lot, because you go something like that. And another way to feel the pulse is feel it in 3. So for every quarter note, I'd subdivide that quarter note in 3, which would be like a triplet kind of feel. You can hear this in the slow blues feel a lot when you go 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a 1. And so there's musics that subdivide in 3 per every beat. Don't mistake that for the rock rhythm that we get a lot, where you go 3 3 2. It's just this is just an 8th note pulse. I'm just putting accents in different places. I go 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. That way I get 3 3 and then 2 of those 8th notes, but I'm still subdividing the bar into 8th notes. Different to 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a 1. And the last thing about the pulses, you can feel it in straight rhythm, where you subdivide evenly, which is 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and very evenly spaced 8th notes. Or you could shuffle it and put a triplet feel on the 8th notes. That would be and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. So that would be a shuffle feel, but I'm still feeling an 8th note pulse. You can do the same thing with the 16th notes. When your 16th note are straight, it's just like and when you do a shuffle 16th note, it's 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4. Let me show this with the metronome. I'm putting it down to 76. And if I do straight 16th notes, I got 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4. And if I do it for the triplet feel, I go 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a. So this was a chapter on the pulse. For now, just remember, you count along or you sing along just to get into the feeling of the pulse of the music. And just being aware of it will help you a lot. There's not a whole lot of theory behind it. It's just important for you to get that awareness and maybe start counting or singing along when you're playing in the subdivision that the other musicians are using also. Thank you for listening.